Hello Internet and welcome back to Rail Survival, a Space Engineers series where I've got a lot of stuff to do and I have to do it because things broke. So yeah, talking of things brokening, I'm here at the nickel mine? Nickel mine, yes. I'm here at the nickel mine, and I'm here not for the nickel, but for the power. It is currently, as you may notice, nighttime. And I don't know... Oh, yep, you could sort of see it there. If we just watch the antennas. See how they keep blinking off? That is the base running out of power. The batteries are drained. Apparently they were on a very, very slow trickle down. And the amount of power at the base is not enough to run refineries and whatnot. So yeah, I've not done any welding. I drove over here in the truck. But what I need to do is get this grid and its extra power hooked back up to the base. Okay, this doesn't tell me how much it's actually using, which makes sense because it probably just only uses that. We are full of nickel, which is cool. Yeah, so this uses 1.8 megawatts. If we look, so 450, 440, 450. Yeah. So we should be producing roughly, we'll say 2250 megawatts here, just running the drill. And how much stored power? Yeah, the battery here is full. So that alone will help us. I'll probably need to stuff some more wind turbines along the track somewhere. But if I can make this part of the main base grid through the track, at the very least I get power. And power is important. Now, doing this is going to be a trick. I think I brought some materials. I don't need it to actually run cargo yet, which is good. So I should have enough to make all the connections, at least to... Basically, I need to find a way to make this grid and this grid subgrids of each other. So I think the easiest step... actually, if I'm doing this... Yeah, tubes take the same thing as traditional, so we might as well use tubes. I figure at the very least I can get roughly to the correct height. Like so. I am going to have to get the correct angle as well. And I think to reliably do that, I'm going to probably need... I'm going to need at least 2 hinges, and there's a good chance I'll need 3, though actually... That's close. That's real close. Let's slap down one of those. Oh man. I don't think these are the same alignment, but it's darn close to it. Now, well, I don't have a design yet for what needs to connect here, so I can just make something work. And I should only need some steel for that. Yeah, we'll do small. Worst case, I should... No, I'm not going to be designing this in a way that I can fix it if this is wrong. We'll assume this will work out. So first I'm going to need a hinge there to angle sideways, and then I'm going to need a hinge here and a hinge there. And actually, I don't need to weld that hinge up. So I'm still not going to be square. Dang it. So the issue you can sort of see here, if I make this so that that is square to that grid, it's going to be off center. To fix that, I would need to adjust all this stuff, and that's going to be tricky. So I think my best bet is actually going to be to have a second sideways hinge. And, okay. I'll have a second sideways hinge, and I'm actually going to... we'll go ahead and... no. We shouldn't need to build it. I'm going to convert to small grid with a medium head. That way I have a little bit more fine control. It also saves a little bit on parts. So I should be able to get this close. And then so that I have it in position correctly. Worst case, I need to somehow fit a piston in, which isn't going to be great because small grid pistons are only capable of, well, they're only a small grid port, like a small port. But materials can pass through that and power can pass through it, so it's not the worst thing in the world, it just won't look as robust. Okay. Looking pretty good. Ow. Now, so put that in there. Okay. I'm going to do something potentially dumb, but everything here is locked down so it shouldn't explode anything. If I just attach this, similar to how we've done in the past with connecting things up, I should be able to attach it, turn off all the hinges movementness, and they'll kind of shuffle themselves into the position that they're going to be comfortable in. So let's see if it'll attach. It does. We are straining everything a little bit, but if I just start turning stuff off. There we go, it sort of shifted. I don't know if it's perfect, but it'll work. I just have to hope it doesn't explode at some point. But we're currently, if we look back at base, there should be a benefit too, because the storm means that, means that we're getting more juice out of things. Let's see what... Also, yeah, look. Everything is connected. Oh yeah, we're making nearly 1,000 kilowatts a thing. Plus all our wind turbines. Which is an interesting point. I don't know how big weather is, but weather is not a global thing. It's for an area. This base, because it's all one quote-unquote base, is spread out enough. In theory, I could have a storm over here, no storm at home. I wonder how the wind turbines make sense of that, if they do, or if they just kind of all just run. But anyway, let's look. So I think that's a small vehicle battery. Alright, so the battery here was fully charged. This one's quickly charging. That's good. That might be a main base battery. And it's also charging. I think we're doing all right. Okay. So with that, I am going to go to what I intended to start things out with and do a time lapse of, well, what welding I can do. Yeah, this is a little weird because we've already obviously started the episode, but here I am sort of starting again now that all that welding is done. And a bunch of other stuff is done because, oh boy, did it take a while. So, greenhouse. It is done. It is green. It's kind of hard to tell, but that is green. Yeah. It's looking pretty good, I'd say. You can see we have high oxygen and warm weather. That's showing all good. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and do some planting. Get that done. I may at some point set this up as a proper airlock, though I need to find... I need maybe like either... Ooh... There is a secret pit underneath the garage. Maybe I expand that out a bit and turn it into a little computer basement. Because I have the little upper area up there that has some computers. But I feel like if I want to have proper airlocks in places, it's going to get pretty crowded pretty quick. Or I do a small grid conversion up there. Maybe that's what I'll do. Just build like a small grid computer core. Anyway, so I don't think I have any fruit or vegetable aside from their seeds. Yeah, so I should be good to go. I think what I'll do is just have like each row will be a type. Which I should do, yeah, we can have this row be farming. Make it a little bit easier. Wherever those live. The items? They are. Alright. Plant, plant, plant. I'm going to turn my lights on just... It's dark out. The lights in here are meant to be moody, so it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing. But... Okay, that's our grain. Now, these will all grow at different rates. Which, you know, probably not matter in the end because I'll forget about them. But hopefully, eventually, I'll have the whole rows going. I should see, though. So, I don't know for sure how this changes. But current water usage, 20 liters, 16, 8, and 15. So each type of plant uses a different amount of water. And I think that changes as they grow. I'd assume while they're growing is the highest usage. And then once they're grown, the usage drops. So I'm going to go ahead. So if we assume 20 liters times 4 rows, by 14 plots, that is 1,120 liters of water per whatever this meant. That is nearly 1,200 liters a minute. That sounds like a lot. How much do these produce? Okay. This is good. These guys produce 600 liters a minute. So, we're just below 1,200, and that is absolute. That's the highest level of usage multiplied out. So we're actually well under 1,200. The two of these guys can produce 1,200. And I don't know how quickly this ticks down, but it looks like we're pretty good. And obviously we have infinite ice. So I don't think, I mean, using the iron as an indicator, we can see about how quickly we gather ice, and it doesn't look like the ice drops that quickly. So I think we're doing pretty good. So with that done, there's actually the bulk of what I hope to do this episode, and of course it's getting dark. It would get dark again. But the bulk of what I want to do is actually work on the Railyard. Mainly get the sort of cascading switch system set up so that I can kind of build out the Railyard and make it useful. So I talked a bit about this and why my original plan was going to fail. With this setup, in order to get to like multiple aligned rows, I would essentially have to like fiddle back and forth like this, or build some other much bigger, more complex system to make that, you know, work. The issue there is, of course, I can't have something on this line if I want to get to that line. So instead of making a yard with multiple tracks for storing stuff, it would essentially create a one long line that I put everything on that's just sort of compacted. And that's not what I want. So I think I need steel, which is gonna suck because we're maybe doing okay-ish. Oh, this is a thing, by the way. I don't think I've shown that. There are a lot of little things, because, again, lots of time. So, I redid this. Over here, I did, This makes it so that while this is running, my bed doesn't vibrate. This little whoopee thing. Which, yeah, I should paint that other end. Some stuff like that. Obviously I connected the other end. We saw that. Alright, how much steel do we have? Yeah. So roughly 1,200 at the moment. That's not horrible. It'll work alright, I think, for what we're doing here. Though, of course, welding it all up is going to need a lot more again. Oh. Actually, hold on. No. Okay, I'm going to do that differently, but I'm not going to extend this track out. So I was thinking about it. This track, with the little fueling thing and the train, maybe it makes sense for this to be a separate thing, and my main through line be this one. So this is the line that actually continues on and has the switching stuff off at the other end. So we'll go ahead and start extending it way out. You know what? I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take a little nap. When I'm done with that nap, it'll be daytime. Because I'm a little sick of this. Oh, I should probably check though. So now that it's nighttime, I'm not getting solar power. I am losing power, which isn't great. So I need more wind, but I know that. I'll deal with that later. Oh. Okay, I should have slept a little longer, but it's getting lighter, so we'll be able to see what's going on. Ooh. Oh, no. Height's still looking okay. The ground is... Okay, the ground is sloping up just a little. So I am going to have to be careful here. But I want to go... possibly too far out, but kind of... Well... Do I need to? This is probably good. I don't know exactly how much room I'm gonna need per siding, but I also don't necessarily know what sidings I need. I suppose I'd want one for silver, so I'd want 4 to exist. 5 if I assume I find gold someday. 6 if I want iron, so maybe 6 or 7 if I can get away with it. Now I think the best way to do this is going to be... Yes, we have 3 blocks in between. I'm gonna start laying out these other tracks. Because my plan to make this all line up is essentially what I ended up doing on this guy, which is just build the switch extra long, see how long I need to make stuff line up, and then do it. So unlike this switch where each end is equal and this middle bit just kind of goes in between, my plan is to have the middle bit at the length that lines it up with the, well, probably the length that lines it up with the innermost one, So it'll just go straight across, and then I will stick more blocks on the outer one, so as it swings out, it lines up with the outer one. And I could probably do some, vaguely complex, but not really that complex math to figure out what exactly I need and where. But that's hard, and I prefer the age-old method of just try a bunch until something works. Because that means I don't have to use my brain so much. So that is 7 lines sitting out here. Let's go ahead. I'll extend this out almost as far as the other one. Okay. Hold on. How is this gonna work? I don't know if this actually works this way.
Fuel low.
Oh, crumbs.
Fuel
Almost
critical.
bounced all the way home. So the issue I just realized, if I have all those fixed, I need gaps in between with the pistons to make each sort of switch, which means that line isn't actually going to be quite on the same alignment as this one. So I think I have to do this from the other end. I have to build from the cascading switches and sort of line them up. I'll leave these far ends here just to have, but I think eventually that'll go away because, well, it won't work. This will just kind of give me rough positionings. So I imagine this is too long. I'm probably going to adjust it, but it should be long enough for me to figure out my math. And actually, Ew. I didn't think about that. Okay. So I have this piston, the purpose of which is to push all this back a bit. But in order to have enough room to move here, I needed this piston. This piston cancels that piston out, so these blocks are now basically aligned, which means this can't swing. Okay, so I will need 2 pistons. Which means redoing all this. There we go, that's a little gap. I did just realize too, I don't actually need this bit long because I'm gonna add to that. But we'll see what happens. That's interesting.
Energy low.
So this is currently at 7 angle, which is what I have the other ones at, and I like 7. It seems like a nice shallow where those just touch. Also, I think that's how the other ones are set up. Yeah, I think it's same either way. Anyway, 7's not long enough, which I guess makes sense Because 7 degrees, this is roughly the same length as what I have over there. And 7 degrees over there goes from here to here in the middle. Meaning 7 degrees is half that distance. So here I'd probably need it to be at 14. Can I do... What's 14 look like? Can I even get there? No. I mean, yes, but I don't know if you saw it pulled the piston out just a little. And that's very tight. Now my math isn't quite the same though. Yeah, it pulls out just a little. But 10 seems to be it. I think 7's the max I can do. Which means I'm gonna need to make this even longer. That's not what I anticipated, having to go shorter. Oh, this is gonna take up a lot of room. In fact, this is gonna take up so much room that I don't think I can have a dedicated little spot for each ore. Unless... So currently I'm using this area as my yard. I also have over there. The trick is going to be getting stuff in there. But I guess I could have another switch down that way that moves some stuff. Okay. I think what I'm going to do... Let's tear all this down. Let's get power and fuel first. I'm gonna tear all this down, push it back to get myself as much room as possible. Basically, I want this switch parallel with this hill over here. And I think my goal for today is just to get a system that works. Even if I don't have a, even if I don't have the full yard, I'll count it as a win. Okay. So that's roughly 40 blocks long. I hope that's enough. That'll be our second track position. Let's see what happens here. Well, it's very slow. It's overshot a little bit. I think I need more torque. All the torque. Probably too much. Okay. Yeah, so it's overshot a bit, but not much. Just take it on back. Extend this out. Yeah, this is the issue we were running into before. Which is that the math doesn't really work out. Maybe if I go shallower? So if I extend that back out to full length. Try 5.5. And that's pretty much lined up. That gap is still not great. I think it's a little better than it was. You know what? I don't love the bounce, but unfortunately it's just part of it being this big. Could I... Will it droop too much if I turn off inertia tensor? No. There's a little droop, but not bad. Maybe that'll help.
Low.
Okay. What I'm gonna do
Fuel critical.
is drive the train out there. I'll get a little fuel from this. I'm gonna drive the train out there and see if I can go over that gap safely. Hopefully this doesn't cost me a train, because that'll be expensive and annoying. But if I can make that gap work, it may be what I have to do. This will also be a good test for how much height I actually have, because this should be the lowest vehicle I end up having because of the connector. And I'm fitting so far. Okay, we're on to the switch. We're back off it. Send it back over. Oh yeah, much better without shear inertia tensor. Not great, in that it's still jiggling, but better. Okay. I don't have a track to go on. Hold on. That would have been a short test. Okay. That should make it a little bit safer, what I'm about to do. So let's see. Okay. Oh. Oh, it just makes it. I think the wheels do go into the gap, but it works. Okay. Now the issue... That's long. Like, I can fit one more, maybe two, before I hit the other hills. That's not the most useful. But I do think it may be my best bet. Okay, I'm gonna do something stupid here. Let's go at some speed and see what happens. Oh. Wasn't close enough to hear the banging, but... Yeah, that actually wasn't much worse than any of the other ones. Okay. Well. I don't know if I love it, but I think it's working and it'll work enough that I'm not super worried. Okay. Last thing I think I'll do here, let's see if I can make it a little shorter. Though, so we're going 5.5. I should have left the train at this end. So if I can get it shorter, shorter is better. Because, I mean, that's not much bigger of a gap than there was. In fact, heck, it may actually even be shorter. Huh. Well, that's fine then. Now we reverse it back. Oh, yeah. That's interesting. So the lengths are the same. Does that make... If I make it even shorter, could I hit a point? I don't think so. Because the angle there is set. -7 is the most I can go. If that's the angle I can go, this has to be a certain length to line up with this 3-block gap here. So I think realistically what I'm looking at here is what I can do. So ignoring all that bit at the end, the area kind of between that gantry and that is our area. So,
critical.
So I now walk home. So what I can do is knock those back, grind away most of this. Ow. And then work on building my next little chunk. Whoops. Okay, we're just gonna ignore that. There we go. Kind of thought this would just fall to the ground and land there. Anyway, now that those are converted, can count out again. So these are just 10-point markers. So from this row, this being the sort of, you know, I guess, well, this being where that ends, it is roughly 35 blocks to here, which is the backing block I need to place the under piston, which I don't strictly need because the under piston's going to live on this end. So 34 blocks. Easy. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So just 30 from here. So that should be a second one. I did have to jut out this end a bit. Let's go ahead and get it set up for a test. Obviously this track will go away because it'll be replaced by another switch. But you can see...
Fuel low.
Uh-oh.
Fuel
Well, that was
critical.
miraculous. We'll show it from down here. You can see, so I have my main line here. with the switch down there, we get on this line, which is our first sort of storage track. Then we'll have a second track, then a third track. And we may be able to fit 4 on this side, because I shouldn't need that much distance at the end, at least with how I'm envisioning doing the final train thing. Let's do one more test drive. And if this works, I may at least get everything else set up. Maybe I start welding. It really depends on how much time I have. But it would be nice to get things ready to go so that next time we have at least part of the rail yard. That's what I need. And then with part of the rail yard built, I can, well, try and connect up the silicon and associated other things. Alright, send that over there. And then straight should work just fine, so we will test. This will be a little weird because I'm going whoop, whoop, whoop. But if I can get all the way over there on these switches, then, well, that's mission success. Ooh. Yeah. And yeah, easy. All right. As the sun sets, I think we'll call that an episode. That's some good progress. We have a rail yard. I just repeat that a few times and we should have enough sidings. I don't even know. I was originally thinking a siding for each ore, but I don't even know if I bother with that. In fact, it might be more interesting and challenging later if I don't. But yeah, this is looking good. I think next time I'll probably work on getting I'll probably get some of this set up and done off camera. And then next time, either we go and set up the line to the silicon, start that process, or maybe we build ourselves a little flying scout. We go gold hunting. Because I'd like to at least know where I'm heading with everything and then do the heading. But all that'll come in the future. So for now, thank you everybody so much for watching. Feel free to check out all the other stuff I've done, and until next week, bye-bye.